Prepare to qualify.
You have entered the Fandom Effect, a podcast filled with anime, video games, comics, MMA, and unlimited ideas. Each week, a new guest will press enter and discuss how they're making their dreams come true. With your host, Mark the Bushido Geek Halberg. It's time to enter the Fandom Effect. Now, please insert 25 cents to continue. You have one playthrough. Better make it count.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Matt Carter. We're on episode 8 of the Fandom Effect. You know what I'm saying? AKA Ninja. Follow me on Instagram, Matt State Ninja, or you can be my friend on Facebook, Matt Carter. In parentheses, put Lone Wolf. You know, I try to put out YouTube videos as often as possible. You know, I do martial arts, acting, modeling. I teach. I do flips. So choreography, all that other stuff, man. Dancing, b-boying. So check me out if you can. I would like to. I would appreciate it, you know.
All right, everybody. Welcome back. Hopefully you've been following everything so far. We are on episode 8. So as you guys know, last week's guest was Tom. Hope you guys enjoyed that. We have an awesome guest again this week as well. It's a guy I used to train with way back in the day. I'm not going to date myself too much, but Matt Carter over here, guy who taught me how to do a good couple kicks. I remember specifically some fun practice stuff, but he's also a actor, a really good martial artist, and he's got a movie on YouTube that we will make sure we post the links to, along with some other cool kind of projects in the work, and has done a wide variety of things throughout his career so far, and a lot more down the road. So appreciate you taking the time. And I know we were kind of jump right into it. We were talking earlier about that movie that you had played in the Detroit theater.
Yeah.
So that obviously that's pretty crazy in itself. How'd you guys kind of manage to get that?
Well, it was all really the director, man, producer, man. He was doing my stuff. Like, pretty much all I had to do was show up, man. It was like, the one thing about doing short films and projects, when you don't got like a big team and you got like a handful of people, you know, one thing, you know, when you find your dream struggling, bro, it's like everything you got to realize is coming out of pocket. So what the little bit that we had, that's what we were working with. So as you know, you were training with me. Of course, I got like the techniques and stuff, but I didn't know anything about recording at the time, or, you know, camera work or angles. So, you know, he pulled his people in. I believe his camera guy was Carlos. I can probably tag in one of his videos showing his work. And John is the director. You know, he wrote everything. That was his first project too. The interesting part about that is how that started was, you know, he messaged me one day and said like, hey, you know, you should let me write a script for you. You know, kind of like everything else. I was like, you know, he may be one of those guys that's just talking or whatever. So, you know, 2 weeks later, he came with a script. I came over his house, and then next thing you know, Black Steel went from there. And it just, you know, it's interesting, man. It's you know, when you're chasing your dream, bro, it's kind of like you gotta really. I'm pretty sure you heard it before, but you gotta really put your all into it, man, because ain't nobody gonna see the vision with you, you know. So you just gotta be humble and keep going.
Yeah, I think that's, if you have something you're passionate about, it's gonna take hard work, and you're going to have those days where you want to give up, or, you know, you're going to have those, you know, movies or, you know, things that you do that no one sees, like, or like one person sees, and you're just like, and that doubt starts to creep in. But I think like you just said, like, you gotta push through it, because if you want to make it a reality, like it's going to take a lot of work. Like, that's the whole point, you know, following your dream. And I know you've kind of, you know, we both trained, and you kind of had, you know, transition to using the skills that you learned into like an acting career. What for you was kind of like that turning point where, like, has acting always been a dream, or did you kind of hit a point from martial arts training where you were like, hey, you know what, like, I see all these guys doing all these cool things, I already know how to do all that, you know, if I can connect the dots, you know, I got something?
That's what it is, man. Hey, you hit the nail on the head right there. That was exactly it, man. It was funny, man. I was 19 or 20, man. I was at the gym a lot, of course, and there was a kid. It all started because there was these kids. They were going to, I think, the greenbelt testing, and there was a parent that said at first, she was just like, after the test was done, she came into me. She said, "Baby, you're in the wrong field." And I'm looking at her like, "This is what I love to do. Like, how am I in the wrong field?" But at the time, I didn't get it, you know. So He was just like, you just look so handsome. And I'm thinking like, whatever, you know? So when you get a security guard, I'm meeting like other people at Department of Human Services and stuff, and people kept saying it, and I'm just like, all right, man. So there was a point in time I was just going to movies every Sunday. It was just 1 year that they just kept putting out action films, and I'm sitting in the theaters looking like, man, he looked just like me. He's doing the exact same moves that I know. I'm like, man, let me try this, you know. I'm like, I can say those lines. I can read a script, you know. Why not? A friend of mine, Kenya Spratt, you know, she gave me this number, and she said, call this number, and said they're doing an open casting call. John Casablanca was the name of the school that I started acting at, and next you know, I called them. I went in there, did the auditions, and then I was learning acting from them for I think about a year or two. Then I met my other acting buddies, and after that, man, I flew out there to Cali, met some other people, and then it just kept going. And I was like, this is what I love to do, man. You know, to do martial arts and get paid for it, meet new people, great.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to complain when you're getting paid doing what you love to do.
Yeah.
What was the first? I know Black Steel was kind of like the big, like the first big project. What was the first like acting thing you tried out?
I mean, we did like a lot of little projects in school, but it wasn't big. It was like we didn't do any plays or anything. We kind of just they gave us a script. You know, we went home, partnered with people, and then we just came back and kind of just did it on stage at the school. And you know, that was really it. We was kind of still shy, but Black Steel was my actual acting project that I put on camera. You know, everything else I kind of just was really just trial and error. So let me see. Let me think. I may have one called, I think it's like Assassin's Creed versus Ninja, or I don't know, it's something on YouTube. And I think I said probably like one line in the whole video. That was it, man. But I don't count it though.
No, that'll be the video that gets discovered when something breaks and people start looking up all the other stuff that you've been. They're gonna be like, wait, what's this shit? Because when it's on the internet, people will always find it. Always find it. I have a couple cringe videos on there from some stuff I did way back in the day that I've mentioned in previous episodes, and I'm sure by now people have already found them and looked them up and are getting ready to have laughs at my future expense. And the reason why, like, if you're listening right now, this is your first episode that you've listened to with the Fandom Effect. Obviously, happy to have you aboard. If you're kind of curious as to the scope of the questions, a lot of it stems from the fact that I do have a 2-year-old now, and I'm seeing him grow up and have all these dots connected that, you know, when I was growing up and had the support of, you know, watching nerdier things and getting into that pop culture stuff, and, you know, was able to get the right friends and stuff like that. You know, now I'm seeing the flip side of it, and I'm watching him do that stuff. So that's why every episode I try to, you know, yeah, we're gonna have, you know, the episodes are gonna have fun, and we're gonna goof off and stuff. But I want there to be a message for you guys of like something to help you out. You know, find your own passion, find the stuff that matters to you guys, and you know, maybe if you haven't thought of any, you know, acting before or martial arts, and by the end of this podcast, like that's something you want to try out, and hopefully by listening to this, you guys are able to get a good platform to jump to and have a good resource you can, you know, go back to and listen to. So that's the end goal here of what I'm trying to do. So there's my little soapbox for myself. So I know you've done stuff all over. I've seen a lot of the posts. So I know the big thing that you got to try to do is you did America's Got Talent twice, I think, right?
Yeah, I did America's Got Talent twice. I think So You Think You Can Dance probably, I think that's probably 2 or 3 times, I believe. I may have an old picture with the audition numbers on me.
Yeah, so what was that experience like for you, like overall?
Well, So You Think You Can Dance, that was fun, man. That's more of like, I've always been a freestyle dancer. I never learned dancing doing like the 1, 2, 3 count like everybody else. You know, when I went to clubs, it was always freestyling and just kind of feeling music. Of course, we would watch like YouTube videos and stuff, but it was mainly just, you know, just freestyle and having fun, really. Now, America's Got Talent, that's a little different though. That's, how can I describe that one? I mean, you got to be good for both, but America's Got Talent is, you know, you got martial artists, you have comedians, you have gymnasts, you have like anything you can think of, man. So when you're doing that one, if you're doing martial arts or dancing, whatever it is your talent is, you got to make sure it's extremely good, and you got to stand out. You want to make sure you come early, because after a certain time, like I don't know what it is, man, but I've always got there at 4 p.m. and later. If you get there at 8, it's kind of like, I won't say they pick their winners early, but it's a little different because, you know, it's been a long day. They start to get agitated, you know what I'm saying? And then, you know, people that kind of go really don't want it. They just kind of go just to get the experience. So if you want to stand out, you know, apart from everybody else, man, you got to train like Muhammad Ali or Kobe Bryant. You got to be like that good. Like that term, be so good they can't ignore you type of thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that. So those two, it was a fun experience for both. But, you know, we'll see if it happens again. But I will say I made some mistakes. Like America's Got Talent, I believe it was this year, January, I had my bow staff this time, and I dropped it once. Well, I didn't really drop it. It kind of flipped out of my hand, bounced off the ground, and I caught it.
Oh, okay. So could be part of the act.
Yeah, but they know a mistake when they see one, you know.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's like that, man. You gotta be perfect. Like there's no other way to. You can't be okay. You can't be great. You gotta be perfect. That's what they're looking for. So for people that's auditioning and trying out, you know, you better be ready.
Yeah, I mean that's a good piece of advice though. I mean you went through the experience a couple times of getting up in front of do you just audition in front of judges, or is there a crowd?
So what it is, okay, you usually got like 3 or 4 judges. I think America's Got Talent was, I believe it was 4. 4 the first time, 3 the second time. So You Think You Can Dance was always 3 people. It was always and it was always diversity. It was either Caucasian, I don't know, African, or you know, whatever. It's always 3 different people. Like, you know, so
Everyone, you know, whether it's America's Got Talent or American Idol or, you know, any one of those kind of shows, like you see the final product. You know, you see the people that get picked. You see the people that, you know, make it, but you don't hear about like how like that actual process gets to that point. And you have the unique opportunity. You kind of have that experience that you could share, which is why I wanted to make sure I kind of picked your brain a little bit on that.
I was gonna say one more thing. I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No, you're good.
Okay, so one detail: America's Got Talent. Like, say if there's, you know, they put you up in categories. So America's Got Talent, whoever's the people that's auditioned, like say if it's 16 people, those would be the 16 people that's, you know, you're with in that room. So You Think You Can Dance, that's everybody. That's the whole crowd. Everybody, you know, people that's upstairs, downstairs. That's the only difference in between the two.
That's pretty interesting. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. Obviously, if you decide to tackle the beast again, you know, definitely let me know, and I'll try to make sure people, you know, keep a root for you as much as they can, if they know you got it going on. So I know you talked about it, like that you kind of had brought your bow staff, and we had, you know, obviously had talked about kind of the martial arts leading into some of the acting. So kind of taking on the martial arts route of it for a second here. How did you get started in martial arts?
Interesting story, man. I've back in the day when we were kids, when there was VCR, and I was yeah.
Not that we're dating ourselves or anything, but
yeah, man, we're that old, man. Now, no, man, I was watching Bruce Lee, and you know, my parents, they would come downstairs in the basement, you know, because I was quiet, man. They'd come downstairs like to see what I was doing, and they look, and they think I'm rewinding, you know, the old Bruce Lee tapes, but really I was playing his movies in slow motion. I was practicing how to do nunchucks and weapons before I could fight with my hands and feet. Yeah, it was so from 4 to about, I want to say 13 or 14, I was self-taught. You know, just watching movies, anime, just, you know, having the superhero or ninja mindset. 13 or 14 years old, then I found Cooper's Gym, and then got 3 black belts, and then after that, you know, I did 2 cage fights, you know, 2-0, and then got out of that for a minute, and then next thing you know, I went back to being self-taught, and that's when I started doing the videos, and you know, got into acting. So martial arts you can't tell my story without martial arts. It's always been a part of me. Like whether I lose a job or I moved or got depressed or, martial arts is like my medicine. That's always been my outlet, my, passion, my first love. So,
Oh yeah, no, I can definitely respect it. Myself, I'm trying to get back. If the shoulder can heal up, I can definitely get back. I have a couple questions, but you kind of shared your story, and people who have followed my work now, or if you followed it back when I was doing the pop luck stuff, you guys know that I did martial arts for close to 5 years before injuries derailed it. But I never have told the story about why I got into it, so I'll share a little bit of it today. Since you kind of shared yours, we'll give everybody kind of like a good point on both of us here. So I didn't get into that young. Growing up, it was just a suburban kid, had the parents that wouldn't sign the football permission slip. I kind of had that overprotective mom, like, oh, I'm not signing the football one. You'll get hurt. That's too dangerous. I'll sign the baseball one or whatever. So it was stuff I had always talked about with friends, but kind of just never took the step, never took the plunge until, 24 is when I started. So I got into it really late, but it was just like, it was one of the things where I had hit like a super rough patch in life. I was engaged, and then a bunch of crazy things happened with that, and was single and jumped into relationships, and you get your heart broken 2 or 3 times. I was at a very, very low point, and you kind of got to that point where I had to make a judgment call. It was either give up and just go into a pit of depression and just come out to see what happens, or to take some sort of positive step, find an outlet. And that's when I found Cooper's out. I remember I was researching gyms, because there's always a lot of gyms in your local area. And for me, this is probably people are gonna be like, why would you do that? I searched for, when I was looking for reviews, I looked for the reviews where people were leaving bad reviews, like, these guys were too tough on me, and I went there for just 1 or 2 days and I got hurt. These guys are so tough. Like, I looked for that review, and there was a review on Garcia when he was still training there that said that someone was like, yeah, I went to train under Shamir Garcia for a trial, and he dislocated my finger teaching me like MMA, like rolls and stuff. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna call them up, and that's when, so that's when I first talked to Sensei. And now that I worked against Shamir, that dude could hit, and hit hard, but that was the fun of it. And so definitely, like, to your earlier point, like, throughout everything, like stress, everything else, the gym was always the outlet. It was always the drive to do more and the passion to do more. I think I got up to a red belt before I had to leave Cooper's when we moved here. Had to re-get up to a red belt in Rufus Sport kickboxing. And then I was roughly the equivalent of a 3-stripe white belt in jiu-jitsu and Brazilian jiu-jitsu before injuries kind of derailed me a little bit. But like I said, ideally getting back is the goal, but I wanted to at least share you guys a little bit of my story about, because I think people, they see, you see this stuff on TV and, and UFC and all that. And, some of it either looks too scary, or a lot of people, have different connotations of what they think training is. But, I think, like, you have a lot more experience in it than I do, but I think people underestimate the cathartic kind of experience you can get, like, from finding, like, the right gym.
Yeah, man, it's different. Like, like, one thing, man, Bruce Lee's like always been my idol, man. I'm sure he is for like everybody else too. But I really liked his philosophy of what, how Bruce Lee talked about things like how they say emotional content. I didn't get that part what he was talking about until I rewatched the movie later on. But as you grow up, maturity and everything else starts kicking in besides just the physical part of it. So, like you said, like those dark places, man, and it really, like with anything, man, you find a passion, something you love doing. It's like it's like that happiness, that lock, that hold it's got on you.
Oh yeah, and I think that's important for everyone out there. Like, especially in today's world where it's pretty easy to fall into that mental trap, and let the doubts creep in. Is finding that passion in whatever it is. So if regardless of what it is, everyone's gonna have something that helps you and brings happiness to you and helps you out, and that's what you need to strive for. And I know you had mentioned you had done stuff before, so I wasn't able to get at this point myself. But how was how does cage fighting, like, if for everyone out there that obviously, like, people watch UFC and stuff all the time, like, what's the actual experience like for you, like when you're in the cage? If you can try to give everyone like a mental picture.
Imagine walking inside of a building or a cage or whatnot, and you don't hear nothing but you and the person in the room. That's it. That's all you hear. Like, the adrenaline is going so fast, and like, all the training and you've been doing for weeks or months, whatever. It kind of, the only thing that sticks with you is the basics, which is so strange, man. It's like, it's so crazy, man. It's like it's a weird energy. It's so hard to explain, man. But when you're in there, the only thing you experience is like him, you may hear one or two voices outside the cage, which my experience was, it was either Sensei or it was Shamir or Landon or Jason. Jason was my corner for my first fight. And you only hear like those certain voices. You wouldn't hear people screaming your name like Ninja or like none of that. It's, when you're in there, man, it's really tunnel vision. It's literally like,
yeah, it's I didn't quite get there myself, but I don't know if there's videos of your old fights, but if you guys can find them, I
think it was, but the CD probably got scratched up or something. Yeah, man, that was long before I had YouTube, man. So yeah, good luck getting that one. Unless the other guy posted it somewhere.
Yeah, it's somehow I doubt those losses are probably not posted too much. But I got a fun question for you. So there's a lot of different options, so it might be hard to answer. But what's your favorite? Going from like you can think of it from any martial arts standpoint, but what's your favorite style, but in favorite move?
Favorite move. Okay. Yeah, this is a hard question.
There's so many.
All right, I'll put it like this. I'll put it into scenarios. This will probably make it easier. If I was in a street fight, I would probably use, no, not probably, I'll use Muay Thai first. If I'm in a street fight and there's multiple people coming at me a lot faster than I expected, then I would use Taekwondo. Of course, grappling, Hapkido would kick in. And then for groundwork, I would use Hapkido and Capoeira. I think Capoeira is very useful when it comes to ground game. And, the reason why it's my favorite, because, you can get thrown on the ground, you can roll, and you can kick from a very low position, then. So basically I would use Taekwondo for speed, Muay Thai for power, Hapkido for countering, and, Capoeira for countering as well. But out of my favorites, I would definitely say Taekwondo, man. I think my power is in my legs, I believe. So I believe my favorite move is probably a spinning hook kick. That's probably the most deadliest.
I remember Simmons teaching us that one day. It's a fun one to learn, but the first couple trial and error kicks where you don't do it at all.
Yeah.
When you just try to make the jump and then you just fall on the ground, you're like, all right, that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
man. So how you pivot, man?
I know. I got the pivot. My kicks got good when I was on Rufus Sport, because Duke Rufus's big thing is kicking. Besides Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, his big thing is their kicking style. So like my kicks got like broken down and reworked up, and they were getting pretty good. Like I was feeling really good before all the injuries happened. So obviously we talk about it. I'll eventually go back, but I'd say for me, like I didn't do that many styles. So like I only did, boxing, Muay Thai, Rufus Sport kickboxing, and then we did Japanese Jiu-Jitsu at Cooper's, and then I did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at Rufus Sport. For the Jiu-Jitsu side, I prefer Japanese. I feel like it's more, I feel like it's just more like to the point. Like you it's learning moves within a move, whereas when I learn Japanese, it's always, like, okay, here's how you sink in, the ankle lock or the heel hook or, the Kimura or whatever. Whereas Japanese is like, okay, well, while you're sinking the Kimura, the Kimura, like, here's something you can do while you're sinking it in to, kind of get like that 2-for-1 combo. Like when I used to work with like Boots at the Red Gym, like that was a lot of stuff he would always talk about is getting the repeated moves down. But I still think my favorite thing to do is an ankle lock. Like that was I worked hard at getting good at it in training, because that was the one thing where it was like as soon as I cinched it on, that was like you felt the immediate tap. Like no one messed around with the ankle lock. It was like they didn't want you to crank that pressure.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's I mean, there's, like I said, anyone listening to this, there's a ton of different styles and gyms, and I really couldn't give advice on where you should start. But my advice, if you're thinking about it, if it's something that you're interested in, I'd say know what you're getting into beforehand. Call the gym up, ask them if you can come by to just watch practice for, like, even if you don't, like, I went there intending to just watch, but I had workout clothes with me anyway, because I was planning on working out after, and then I was invited to work out at Cooper's, and I just worked out that very day. But most gyms will let you guys test it out. So look up your local gyms. If maybe not do what I did and look for the gym that has the reviews of people getting hurt, but maybe look for the ones where people aren't getting hurt. But yeah, because I mean, I don't know. I'd say find that off-beaten gym. Those are usually the ones that I guess because Cooper's isn't, I guess what you'd consider like mainstream, but Cooper's is kind of like off the path a little bit. And Rufus Sports, what I trained at second, is more mainstream. UFC, Bellator guys, like, and all that, but both have their pros and cons. When you got higher profile people to work with, you're gonna get better faster, but you're gonna get hurt more. You're gonna have harder training sessions. You're not gonna have like time to kind of like build yourself up. Like, you're thrown into the fire, but you're not. You got to challenge yourself. Like, if you're gonna go into it, go into it. Don't take it easy. Like, train against the harder people. I mean, trust me, the days that I went to class and Simmons was like, all right, Mark, you're going to work with me today, because they knew I wanted to go somewhere. Those were all those days in the back of your head. The first thought is like, shit, this is going to hurt. This is going to hurt.
Yeah, I remember them days. Ooh, man.
You knew how hard he was going to kick.
Man, just to piggyback off what you said, man, it was Mr. Carter used to always say something to me. He was like, to learn the technique properly, he was like, it's got to be done to you first. And I'm like, what? He was like, if you don't feel the pain of the technique, like, you won't really know what your opponent's supposed to be feeling or how to explain it. So, and Hapkido was very interesting, man, because I'll be like, Mr. Carter, I don't get it. And he'd be like, oh, you don't? Okay, everybody come in for a second. And then he'd grab you and do like some twist or like arm lock or 16 or 39. You'd be like, okay, yeah, I get it now.
I remember those days when I first had told Coopers that I wanted to transition from boxing to MMA. That was literally the first day. It was Garcia putting every move on me that he could think of, and he's a huge wrestling fan, so he would put the move on me. Like, he'd put me in like a leg lock, and then he'd be like, all right, now I'm gonna put you in a sharpshooter, but I'm gonna make it hurt. So he would put me in a wrestling sharpshooter, but make it MMA style so it would hurt. And that was literally my first whole day. It was just getting, like, I remember I woke up the next day and I could barely move because I had been put in every hold possible, like arm, leg, like everything. But I mean, honestly, it's the best way to learn is get the move put on you. And I've told my wife this multiple times, and she still doesn't believe me. But I've told people this before too. Is you get used to getting punched in the face. As weird as it sounds, like,
yeah.
Because I haven't asked that, like, what's it like getting punched in the face? I'm like, I don't know. Like, it hurt for like the first couple weeks, but after that, you just get used to it. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, I don't know. I get punched in the face and I just punch back. Like, I don't react. Like, it's just a normal thing. And so it's I think that's the weirdest thing for people to understand that haven't done it yet or haven't tried it yet, is you will get used to getting punched in the face. You will get used to getting kicked in the head and kicked in the rib. Like you just get used to it. It hurts. I mean, it's never gonna not hurt. So we had, like I said, we're both things for you have kind of transitioned into different aspects of what you're trying to do for your dream and, obviously a future career. So you kind of you've done like a big project, and you were able to get it like shown in the theater. What's next? Like what, is there something you're trying to work on, or do you have like an idea for something you'd love to work on, or?
Yeah, man, I got like a whole bunch of stuff, man. Here, matter of fact, yeah, I'll open up right now. You guys probably won't be able to see this, but I've been writing down. I got like a whole list of stuff.
So those of you who are, if this is just ends up just being just audio, I'll let you guys know it's a full notepad, like full of stuff. So he's not kidding. Yeah,
man, it's like I listen to like a lot of motivational speakers and like entrepreneurs, man, and Steve Harvey says it. Gary Vee, he's one of my favorite. He's very great to listen to. Eric Thomas, Leslie Brown, and they all say the same thing. If you want your dream to happen, you got to have a vision board. At least if your vision board isn't big, you got to write it down. So, man, and now that I look at it, all the ideas I got, some of the stuff I wouldn't remember if I didn't write it down. So when I go back and I'm just like, man, I need to make something happen, So I'll go back and look at it like, okay, like, I got to plan to do something with John Wick. I want to cosplay, do some Street Fighter videos, 007. I want to do something with Star Wars, Fast and Furious, Avengers. Like, with some of the stuff I need to learn how to do special effects, and I want to put together a team that can do all this stuff, man, sound, all that stuff. So, yeah, man, the next project that I'm working on is probably, I want to say I want to do something with, I think John Wick could be a fun one. I really want to try that. So I think that'd be my next fan-made film that I'll try to do.
And sadly, Keanu Reeves does his own stunts, so you can't. There's nothing. You can't be a stunt double for him or anything. But maybe we can get on the John Wick 5, which I'm sure will inevitably happen. We can get you to be one of the guys that fights him in the elevator. I mean, he's gonna kill you, but Yeah,
but I'm gonna give everybody a good show. Yeah. I'm gonna give everybody a good show, man. He's good, man. No, I'm constantly writing down ideas, so I'm pretty focused. The only thing that's stopping me right now is, of course, the COVID-19 lockdown. But once everything opens back up, man, I want to fly to Atlanta and take Black Steel to Tyler Perry Studios and just really collaborate and meet with other actors, man, around the U.S. Because honestly, and my older brother told me this the other day, and I didn't really think about it, but he was saying like a lot of people really don't audition anymore. People kind of just put videos on social media platforms, and that's how they're finding everybody. So, kind of like the more you do, like this podcast, you hashtag podcast and you type it on YouTube, and then there you go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now you got the effect. So
yeah, and it's changed. Like you said, people don't audition, and most of the guests I've gotten, that I've gotten, have just been randomness. I won't give it away for those of you listening, because I only give you guys the next guest. But I just confirmed earlier today for two of my July guests, and one of them is this like guy. He's like the top Hawaiian comic book artist in Hawaii. Like created his own two series, and it was the same thing. Like I only found him because I podcasted somebody else, and just like the guy had a fun time doing it, and just like said, well, reach out to this guy. Like I work with him. I'm sure he'd be more than happy to talk to you about it. And so, it's like, you just never know. Yeah, do the YouTube, like stuff and stuff like that. But if you're really passionate about it, like do what you're doing, like travel, fly to these places and meet people, because so few people are willing to take that, because that's the extra step. You can, the step, making the YouTube videos and all that, like that's going to take work, but there's always an extra step you can take. And for you, like you're taking the extra step, you're flying out to places and trying to meet people. And those are the people, when they think of like someone they want to work with or whatever, like they're going to remember the person that took the time to reach out to them versus the person they have on it. Cause yeah, like you said, like people could find your videos on YouTube and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to reach out to that guy. But if you went out and you met somebody, like he might not even go to YouTube to look for people, or social media to look for people, because he could just be like, well, I met that one guy who was really cool and took the time to actually, fly out and meet me. I'm going to give that guy a call first before I, go look somewhere else. So I think it's a good lesson for people listening that are, thinking about acting or, whatever it is, and they want to know what those extra steps are, is to, go try to meet people, do the things that people stop doing.
Another thing, I don't know if you guys ever heard this TV show called Temptation Island. I got a call from a director off Instagram. It was a couple months back, man. I did a Skype interview, and it turns out it wasn't what they were looking for, but just the fact that, putting videos out on social media, if I got their attention by what I was doing, even though I don't fit that TV show, that just goes to show that people are watching you. Even if they're not liking your stuff or comment on it, they're still looking at what you're doing. So, I encourage everybody, just keep going and, do what you got to do. If you got an idea and you actually think it's good, go for it, man. Make it happen.
Yeah, exactly. Still that being said, I'm kind of sad I'm not going to see you on Temptation Island. That would have been a fun one to watch. Be like, wait a minute, I'm pretty sure I know that guy.
Yeah, that would have been interesting to see, man.
I haven't watched the show, but I've seen like clips and stuff, and
maybe one day I'll be on Ninja Warrior or something. Who knows?
Yeah, I would hope so. Have you thought, like, I don't know how their tryouts work, but is that something that you would want to do?
Yeah, I tried out for it, man. I mean, Ninja Warrior don't got nothing to do with acting, honestly, but it's a good side mission, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, man, it's a lot, man. You gotta fill out a written report. You gotta do an interview video. Then you gotta build a course that looks like theirs to make it like, okay, if he can handle something like that, then he could do our stuff. Like, I've got videos doing the warp wall and everything, but it's gonna take time, man. Ninja Warrior is a whole different animal. That and Titan. So. Oh
yeah, Titan. That stuff's pretty crazy. Mm-hmm. I could not do any of that stuff. No, I would fall at the very first part of the very first obstacle, and then just like, all right, well, I hope that was fun for everybody. I can be that laughing one. That laughing one that everyone just kind of pokes fun at. But so obviously you talked about different like hobbies and stuff like that. So besides like MMA and like in acting, like what's the downtime hobby for you?
Listen to music. I watch movies. Like for actors out there, and I'm pretty sure they all understand this, man. Like when you're watching movies for us, it's like homework. That's usually what I'm doing. It's not really watching the plot of the movie. It's more like how they're saying what they're saying in the movie, and that's how you develop, your acting skills. So my downtime would be like, dancing, watching movies. A friend of mine in Cali, her name Chanel Glover. She wrote a book, so I've been reading that. Try to write different stuff in my notebook. I got a niece and nephew running around, and really just chilling, man. I'm living a single life right now, so I kind of need time with that.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, COVID's probably putting a little crimp in getting out there. Those days are long behind me. Married and a 2-year-old for, well, obviously the 2-year-old gives away how long that's been going on, but been married for about, I know. It's crazy. I think you met me before I met my wife.
Yeah, I remember you talking about it at the gym. Mm-hmm.
Those are the early days. I still remember, like, it's weird. I'll have like random flashbacks where I can still remember that smell. That smell doesn't go away. That like, and at the Brown gym, like, because there was no air, the window didn't open anywhere in there, and I remember those hot days where the fans didn't work and there wasn't any air, and you're in that changing room up top with like 9 other guys. It's weird. Like I still get those flashbacks to like like those memories, but those are some of the best things. But I think what you said is like what you're doing with your downtime though is still being productive. Like you said, like you're not really watching the movies to enjoy. I mean, I'm sure you're still enjoying them, but you're watching them to actually get like what they're doing and trying to figure it out. And some of it, like for everyone listening, like a lot of things that I'm doing is the same way. When I watch like certain like YouTubers like Up Down Down's a really popular gaming channel where a lot of the wrestlers that are friends will post like videos of them playing games together. And yeah, I watch it and I laugh and I have fun, but then after I sit there and go, okay, they have all their videos. Okay, what program did they use to get the videos and how they get the audio that good? You know, they're not really getting any clipping. How'd they do that? Okay, let me research what programs can do that. Oh man, I can't afford that yet, but okay, boom, there it goes on the list of, you know, stuff to save up for. And like, oh, okay, so that's how you would do that if I had that program. You know, that's how those dots would connect. I think that's good advice for everybody out there is, you know, when you're trying to pursue that passion, find people who are doing stuff on it right now and, you know, watch their stuff and kind of like see what they're doing. Like when you're watching a video, like I know you said you try to watch for how they're saying things. Like how do you translate what you see? Like how do you practice that? Like obviously like you can't just like wait till you're making something. Obviously you gotta practice. Like for you, like how do you kind of practice those different acting skills that you're picking up?
Well, I try to put like, you know, real life situations, like, you know, things I've been through before. Like, okay, so how did I react when this happened to me? You know, because this is what I'm seeing in the movie, but I'm pretty sure that specific thing happened to me. So I'm just like, how did I react to it? And I'm just like, okay, like, time to time, like, you know, I got a friend of mine, you know, she likes to talk about relationships and stuff. So, you know, if I try to do like an acting scene with something like that, I'm just like, okay, so how can I make this emotion show on my face? So, you know, I'll watch like a movie, like whether it's an action movie, comedy movie, romance movie, and I would see like how they would do it. And then not just their expression on their face, but how they're walking around, you know, if they're pointing their fingers, you know, where they're looking at in the room, you know, you got to really look at those details. So, you know, my best teacher is whatever I've been through before, whatever related scenario I've been through before, that's what I would try to put myself in that mindset to express what I'm trying to bring out on the script. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. It's taking what you see and taking real life and trying to into making something that you can actually use. So important question here. Can you cry on command? And if so, how the hell do you do that? Oh, come on, man.
I can't count on command. If one thing I'm bad at, man, I'll tell some of my weaknesses. Like, I can't play a scared role yet. Like, it's hard to play scared. I definitely can't cry on the spot. Like basically like super emotional characters I can't play yet. Like, you know, I'm just not there yet, man. I just don't have that skill level, you know. But it's okay though, because I never see Vin Diesel super sad or anything like that, or, you know, I don't know, The Rock or anything like that. Sad.
Yeah, I mean, you know? Maybe he cried in a promo in WWE sometime, but I don't remember seeing them cry in Fast and the Furious when they're driving a car being shot at by a tank. I don't see Vin Diesel leaning out the window on his arm with tears rolling down his face as a tank is shooting at them.
Exactly, man.
Not yet, anyway.
No, man, I definitely can't cry on the spot though. But, you know, it's hard to play sad emotions for me. I'll just say that.
No, yeah. I mean, I think like we've kind of like what we've been talking about, any, you know, dream or passion you're shooting for, it's gonna be, unless you're insanely lucky and you're somehow just good off the bat, which is maybe like 1% of, you know, things, you know, like, you know, you're gonna have to work for it, you know. Mm-hmm. So I think it's, to your kind of like piggybacking off your point, it's finding those weaknesses. That's not the case, you know. And probably everyone listening to this too is in the same boat. It's not that it's a weakness, it's just, you know, you're trying to find that groove of what you know you can do, perfect it as much as you can, and then find what those weaknesses are, because you're not really going to know what you're lacking until you find out what you're good at. I think that's pretty important for everybody out there to just remember, is regardless of, you know, whether it's acting or, you know, trying to find, you know, getting into MMA or a different martial arts or whatever it is, you know, there's going to be stuff you take to really well, and then there's going to be plenty of stuff that is just a struggle for a long time, and it takes the extra effort. So I think like a good way to kind of prepare to wrap up is on the theme of what, you know, we're trying to go for with MMA and acting, and we've mentioned different things to focus on, but what for you would you say to other people out there, like, to what should they be mindful of, and like how do you mentally push through the roadblocks that kind of keep popping up?
Be mindful of and roadblocks. Mindful of is definitely not going to come easy. To have a good circle of people around you is important too. Like, you want to have a lot of positive people. The more you become yourself, the more you see who's really for you, or who's really meant to be around you long term. You know, so it's interesting, like how, you know, me and you've always had good energy. So, you know, back in the gym, you know, there was time in between, you know, you went your way doing your podcast, and then, you know, now my acting, and we found our way back to each other. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, the more you learn about yourself, the more you chase your passion, your dream, you're going to be more aware of, like, oh, okay, he was meant to be there. He was meant to do his thing. Like, now we're back, and now we're doing our thing. So I think that you figure out about yourself, and, you know, that's, you know, you'll end up being more aware of who you are. I'll say it like that. And let's say, what was the other question you said?
Like how do you, like, doing what you're kind of doing, like acting and in martial arts, there's a lot of mental roadblocks that pop up when you're struggling to kind of get that footing. Like, what do you do, and what would you say to other people to push through those, like, mental roadblocks?
Always remember your why. Remembering your why is so important, man, because like how you said, like at the beginning of this podcast, how you said, like, man, there's some days you want to give up. Like, isn't there some days I ask myself, like, man, why am I doing this, man? Like, and I just look down, like, you know, I look around, I think about the situation I'm in. I'm just like, nah, man, I want something for myself, not to be famous, or, you know, I just want to see if I can do it. You know, like, I believe in myself enough, like, man, I can be in movies. You know what I'm saying? I want to see how far I can get. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that, and like mental roadblocks. You know, you really got to be strong, because when you're at those give up moments, or it's just like, man, this ain't working. You know, try to find another way. There's always a way. You know. Always, like, you gotta have that warrior mentality. Like, no matter what, man, you gotta be so resilient and relentless at what you're trying to do. So, you know, don't beat yourself up. You know, push yourself, but don't beat yourself up. You know, like, if you make a mistake, get over yourself, man. It's like, okay, that happened yesterday. Yesterday was heavy. Put it down. You know what I'm saying? You know, you gotta keep going. So you just gotta stay positive. You know, keep going, no matter what.
Yeah. And so I'll share with everyone a mistake that I just learned 5 minutes before we started recording today. I'm trying to get a new microphone, because the one I have right now is a condenser mic. So everyone out there that's thinking about podcasting, condenser mics are really good if you have, like, a quiet space, or if you have, like, soundproof room, you know, stuff like that. Right now I don't have that. When I get a house in a year, I will, but right now I don't. So I pick up, you know, lawnmowers or a motorcycle driving down the street, stuff like that. And I got good enough at audio editing. Like, I'm thankful for it now, because I got really good at that style of audio editing. So now I know how to take out noises and all that other stuff. I was looking at the back of my microphone earlier, and I was like, you know what? Like, I gotta, you know, maybe I can adjust it. And I looked at the back, and I was like, wait, what are these two knobs on the back? Because the front has, like, a mute button and a volume button. I was like, what's this, you know, like, on the back? I was like, okay, there's gain, and then there's, like, you know, like, process. And I was like, or what's it called here? I'll flip my mic over. Pattern. I was like, what the heck is pattern? Like, I had never seen that before. And I looked it up, and it's like, oh yeah, Blue Yetis have different patterns where you can change how the microphone picks up sound. And I looked at what setting I was on, and I was on omnidirectional. So the mic was picking up sound from from everywhere it could. Wow. One knob to the right, which is what I'm on right now, says, oh yeah, great for podcasting, because it picks only up from right in front of you. And so I've been podcasting for a year and a half prior to starting this one, and then 2 months of this one, and have just now realized there's a knob on the back of my Blue Yeti that slight little knob, and I was testing out audio before we started recording, and I sound 5 times better than I do on the first 7 episodes. And that's literally just something I've discovered 5 minutes ago, before we started. So it's like, to your point, it's finding the mistakes, being like, well, I'm dumb, but now everything is going to sound better from here on out. And now I know, do that down the road to check out for things like that. And Yeah, but definitely, like you said, this is a really good point of like how you're overcoming like those give up moments and, you know, finding that why or finding the reason why you keep doing it. Because trust me, like I belong to podcast groups where people are like, oh, I just started 2 weeks ago and I've already got, you know, 1,000 downloads. And I'm like, man, I've been doing it for 2 months. And I just hit 10. Like I just switched for RSS feeds, but like it happens. Like sometimes your stuff's not going to take off as fast as somebody else's, but every time I get to that point where, you know, that moment creeps in, you're like, man, is it worth like how much time I plug into this, you know, like hours of editing and hours of promoting and hours of work. And then it's like, every time I do a recording with somebody, like it reignites my passion. Cause like I have such a fun time recording with everybody, like every person I've had on, and obviously yourself included, like I always have such a fun time. And it's not cause like I learn all these different things about different people, but it's just fun. Like you have like those serious conversations, but they're just so much fun. Like I get really into it. And so like that every time I think of that, I'm like, you know what, like who cares if this takes longer to go off than something else, you know, next week I'm going to be talking to this guy and like that guy might, you know, like that guy's going to be awesome to talk to. And I think it's finding those moments of just what makes everything keep ticking for you.
Nobody remembers the mistakes, man. They just remember you winning. Like that's what's really important. That's why I say like you gotta get out of your head and just keep going.
And I think that's a great piece of advice to kind of wrap up on, everybody, is that no one's gonna remember your mistakes. They're just gonna remember what you did. So just keep doing it. Of course, everybody, you guys all know the links will be posted to Matt's work when I announce this the week before, and obviously when the episode airs, and everything on YouTube and the BuzzFeed putting it on there. All the descriptions will go to like Apple and stuff like that. So obviously your YouTube channel and the Black Steel video will be posted as well, so people can like check that out.
Yeah, I would say Instagram and YouTube. You know, I mean Facebook is cool too, but you know it's Facebook is kind of like everything, but I would say Instagram and YouTube would be better. So for my Instagram, it's Matt Stay Ninja. You know, YouTube is the same thing. Type in Matt Stay Ninja. You know, you should find both. But I gotta figure out how to put my YouTube link in my bio. For some reason, it's not letting me do that on my Instagram. So you know, but that's how you find me.
Oh yeah, I might be able to help you with that after. Yeah. But everyone, you know, hope you guys enjoyed episode 8 of the Fandom Effect. Of course. Also hope you guys are really enjoying, by the time this is done, the new intro and outro that I went out and got created. I'm really happy with it. It's 1,000 times better than what I had before. So hoping you guys are enjoying it as well. Make sure you guys keep following everything on the YouTube, Facebook. You can go to BuzzFeed and get the links everywhere else, but the podcast is on almost every platform you can think of. Apple, Google, Stitcher, Deezer, Spotify. It's pretty much anywhere you could think of. We're pretty much there now. We do have a lot. I don't know. It's iffy when I have a lot of videos that may or may not be out by the time this airs. So if you guys are watching this and we got some cool stuff on YouTube, make sure you guys keep it up. And of course, anytime Matt's doing some work, I'll make sure everything is posted for you guys as well, so you guys can kind of keep following his journey through the world. And you know, write the producer of Temptation Island. Let's try to do what we can to get that on the next season of Temptation Island, so we can make that a reality. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Of course, you guys keep being you. Find your fandom. Hope you guys enjoyed episode 8. I'll give you guys a little bit of a teaser. Next week on episodes 9 and 10, they're going to be a 2-part episode with the crew of the Piece Together podcast, which is a podcast dedicated to the One Piece anime. And we had a lot of fun recording those 2 episodes. So you guys are going to get to hear us kind of delve into One Piece, and we kind of delve into the modern world of anime and kind of what that's kind of changed into. But other than that, I'm going to sign out, guys. I hope you guys are having a great day. And, I'll see you guys on the very next episode of the Fandom Effect.
Well, not bad for one playthrough. You have multiple achievements left to unlock. Please follow the Fandom Effect podcast on all available platforms and unlock the next level. If that doesn't work, just turn it on and off.